Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today, we're zeroing in on higher education admissions. Specifically, what does it actually take to become an assistant director of admissions?
Right.
You shared this really useful blog post from hellointern.in. It lays out some example interview questions and, possible answers for this kind of role.
Mhm.
So our mission today is really to unpack these questions, dig into them, and figure out the key skills, the experience, maybe the mindset that colleges are really looking for.
Exactly. And this post you sent, it's a great jumping off point. It's quite interesting to see how much this role demands like a mix of really big picture strategy and also very practical, very people focused skills.
Yeah.
It's definitely more than just, shuffling papers.
Yeah.
It's really about shaping the campus community, contributing to where the institution is going.
Okay, so let's dive right in. First topic, something always on people's minds, salary expectations.
Ah,
The blog post, it suggests a pretty smart way to handle this. Basically, align what you expect with industry standards, based on your experience, your qualifications.
right.
And it also emphasizes being flexible, being open to talking about a competitive package that reflects the value you bring.
Yeah. And what that really translates to is um, you absolutely need to come prepared. You have to do your homework.
Mhm.
It's not really enough to just pull a number out of the air. You need to back it up with research.
Right.
Look at similar jobs, similar schools. Think about your actual experience, what you've achieved. And that point about value, that's really crucial. It's about showing the impact you can make, not just like listing the years you've worked.
That makes total sense. You've got to demonstrate you've researched it, you understand your worth in this particular market. Okay, so moving beyond just wanting any job, why this specific institution? The post really hammers home the importance of mentioning something specific. A program, maybe a value the institution holds, or an initiative they're running that actually resonates with you.
Yeah, exactly.
It even suggests pointing out something you admire, like their reputation, maybe a recent achievement, or just their innovative approach to something.
You should think of it like this. Colleges, they're not just filling a slot.
Yeah.
They're looking for someone who's genuinely bought into their mission,
Yeah.
invested in their students.
Right.
So to really impress with this answer, you got to go beyond just the homepage of their website. Look up recent news, maybe skim some faculty work, or even check out their strategic plan if you can find it.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of effort shows you've done your own deep dive, that your interest is, well, more than skin deep.
Yeah, it's about connecting the dots, saying, look, I see what you're doing here, and here's how my skills fit, and here's why I'm genuinely excited about this particular aspect.
Okay, let's shift gears to the real core of the job
Mhm.
experience with student recruitment and these things called yield strategies.
Ah, the bread and butter.
Yeah. The example answer, it talks about describing your past responsibilities,
Mhm.
managing budgets, creating marketing stuff, going to college fairs.
Standard stuff, yeah.
But here's where it gets, I think, really important. They stress you need to mention a strategy you actually implemented successfully.
Yeah.
And crucially, back it up with numbers, quantifiable results,
Yes.
like
Yeah.
a percentage increase in applications, or maybe a better yield rate, the number of admitted students who actually enroll.
And this is fascinating because it points directly to the big shift towards data in admissions. It's all becoming very data-driven.
Right. Anyone can say, oh, I worked on recruitment. But what makes a candidate really pop is being able to show tangible outcomes. When they mention quantifying results,
Yeah.
We saw a 15% jump in apps from this region after my campaign, that signals immediately that you think strategically, you're results-oriented.
Uh-huh.
And the post also mentions knowing various yield strategies. Those are all the things you do after offering admission to convince students to actually come.
Like personalized emails or...
Exactly. Personalized communication, timely follow-ups, how you manage scholarships to make offers more attractive. It shows you understand the whole cycle, not just getting the application in the door.
Got it. So it's not just attracting them, it's sealing the deal, essentially, making sure they choose your school.
Precisely.
Now, higher ed, it's always changing, isn't it? The whole landscape.
Right.
So how do you stay current? How do you keep up?
Good question.
The blog suggests being active in professional groups. They mention NHAC, which is the big one, the National Association for College Admission Counseling.
NHAC's huge.
Plus, attending conferences, webinars, reading the right journals or publications. They even mention following key people or institutions on social media.
Yeah, and this just highlights the absolute need for continuous learning in this field. You can't rest on your laurels. Admissions is influenced by, well, everything. Demographic shifts, new tech, changing student
Hmm.
expectations. So showing you're proactive about staying informed demonstrates, commitment to the profession. It shows you can adapt. It's definitely not a field where you can just rely on what you learned 5 or 10 years ago.
Absolutely not. And speaking of being on top of things, what about the practicalities? Like, what happens when an application comes in and it's, well, not quite finished?
Ah, the incomplete app.
Yeah.
Happens all the time.
So the suggested approach seems pretty methodical. First, you review it carefully, then promptly and politely contact the applicant, explain exactly what's missing.
Clarity is key there.
Right. Give clear instructions on how to fix it, set a reasonable deadline, and then, importantly, follow up. And they also mention, sticking to the established rules of the institution if you still don't get critical info.
This really highlights, I think, a crucial balance you need to strike. You need efficiency and adherence to process, absolutely.
Yeah.
But you also need empathy.
Mm.
You need to understand that applying to college can be confusing, and applicants might need clear guidance, maybe a gentle nudge.
Yeah.
So that emphasis on clear, polite communication, it's vital for keeping the experience positive for students, even when, there's a little hiccup, like a missing form.
Makes perfect sense. Maintain the relationship. Okay, now, universities are all about bringing diverse people and perspectives together.
Absolutely central.
So it's no shocker they ask about your experience working with diverse student populations.
Definitely a standard question now.
The model answer really emphasizes describing specific experiences, not just saying, I worked with diverse students, but detailing interactions with students from different cultural, socioeconomic, academic backgrounds.
Yeah.
And it's not just about having the experience, it's about showing how you actively fostered inclusion and equity, how you helped create an environment where everyone felt welcome and valued.
And what this really gets at is cultural competency. It's about showing a genuine commitment to building an equitable, inclusive campus community.
Right.
Admissions folks are like gatekeepers in a way,
Right.
but also door openers. They play such a huge role in shaping the diversity of the student body. So they need to show they have the skills, the experience, and frankly, the mindset to do that effectively and thoughtfully.
It's more than just ticking boxes for diversity stats.
Oh, absolutely. It's about making sure that once students get there, they feel they belong, they feel supported, and they have a real chance to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely critical. And with all these different facets, recruitment, applications, diversity initiatives, working with families, it sounds like this role could get pretty intense.
Oh, it definitely can be. Peak
Oh.
season is, peak season.
So, how do you handle that? The stress, the tight deadlines. The blog post suggests some common strategies: prioritizing tasks, breaking big projects down into smaller steps,
Standard time management stuff, yeah.
using techniques like time blocking or maybe a prioritization matrix, and also communicating effectively with your team, with other departments. They even have a line in there about thriving under pressure and seeing deadlines as challenges, not obstacles.
Which might sound a bit cliche, but it points to something real. Resilience,
Yeah.
strong organizational skills, absolutely. But you also need that mental toughness.
Hmm.
Admission cycles are intense. Deadlines are often fixed, immovable.
Right, like decision release dates.
Exactly. So the ability to manage your time well, stay calm when things get frantic, and work smoothly with colleagues, it's all crucial just to keep the wheels turning.
Definitely need to be organized. Okay, and we can't talk about admissions today without talking tech.
Not possible.
So the question about familiarity with application portals, Common App, Coalition App, it's a big one.
Foundational, really.
The example answer suggests saying you're very familiar, that you understand the quirks, the nuances, and can efficiently manage applications coming through them.
Uh-huh.
They also mention being proficient in specific CRM systems, customer relationship management, or databases used for tracking applicants.
Yeah, systems like Slate or Salesforce or others. This just highlights how technical the role has become.
It's not just reading essays anymore.
Not at all. Modern admissions relies so heavily on these digital platforms. Being comfortable, being efficient with them isn't just like a nice to have. It's often a basic requirement. You need it to manage the sheer volume, to communicate effectively, track everything. And mentioning specific CRMs shows you get the operational backend, not just the front-facing application itself.
Right, the machinery behind it all. Okay, one last area from the blog post. Admissions is very much a team sport.
Absolutely. You're rarely working in total isolation.
So they touch on resolving conflict with a colleague. How do you handle disagreements?
Always a good question for any team-based role.
The suggested approach is, again, about specifics. Describe a situation, focus on how you communicated, how you really listened, active listening to the other person's view,
Uh-huh. Trying to understand their perspective.
and how you worked to find a solution that worked for both of you, or at least one you could both live with. Maintaining that professional relationship despite the disagreement seems key.
Totally. This speaks volumes about your emotional intelligence, your EQ, and just your ability to handle normal workplace friction. Disagreements happen. It's normal. But how you navigate them shows your professionalism, your maturity, and whether you can contribute positively to a team, even when things aren't perfectly smooth.
It's about finding solutions collaboratively.
Exactly. While respecting each other and keeping the working relationship intact.
Okay, wow. So let's just kind of zoom out for a second. This
Yeah.
whole deep dive into these typical interview questions, it really paints a pretty detailed picture of what this assistant director role involves, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's clear it's this interesting blend of strategic thinking, recruitment, yield, shaping the class, but also really strong people skills.
Communication, conflict resolution, working with all sorts of diverse people.
Yeah. Plus, being super organized, handling pressure, staying up to date. It's definitely, like you said, way more involved than just reading applications.
Absolutely. You're a strategic partner in building the institution's future student body. You're a key connector with students and families. You're navigating this complex, always changing environment. It really takes, I think, a genuine passion for higher education and a real commitment to helping students succeed.
So, for our listeners, what's the main takeaway here? Whether you're actually thinking about a career in admissions or maybe you're just curious about what goes on, behind the curtain at a university,
Mhm.
this gives you a really valuable look at the essential skills, the mindset these places are seeking.
Right.
It's a good reminder that so many roles in higher ed are incredibly multifaceted. They demand a really diverse set of abilities.
That's a great point. And it really underscores the importance of preparation. Not just, prepping answers for an interview, but taking the time to genuinely understand the institution you're applying to, staying plugged into industry trends, and really thinking critically about your own background and how it lines up with what the role demands.
Well, this has been genuinely insightful, really digging into what makes this role tick. Now, for that final thought to leave everyone with, considering everything we've talked about, the strategy, the people skills, the tech savviness, staying current,
Yeah.
how might the growing influence of AI, of advanced data analytics, how might that continue to reshape this role, the admissions director role, in the coming years?
Ooh, interesting question.
And thinking further, what completely new skills might become totally essential? Skills maybe not even hinted at in these sort of more traditional interview questions we discussed today.
Hmm. That is something to chew on. The future of admissions.
Definitely something interesting to think about. Thanks everyone for joining us for this deep dive.